welcome to the Luna Press channel. I'm Francesca, the owner of Luna Press, and today I just would like to introduce you to the Luna Novella Series and how to go about submitting to it. So first of all, Luna Novella is in fact a series just for novellas. As always, we cover all SFF topics, all speculative and all the subgenre, so you can also submit for horror as well as steampunk, any kind of punk you like, as long as it's part of the realm of SFF and speculative. Now, a novella, of course, is a particular form of writing, and you really need to do a little bit of research in terms of what does it actually mean. The main thing is that you remember that you are not dealing with the summary of a novel, because a novella has a very specific feel to it, a feel that fits within 40,000 words, and of course above generally 17,500 words, and it's almost like having the opportunity to add, of course, extra layers and details to a short story, but not so much that the reader feels that they're reading something that should be bigger than that, but you've tried to cram it all into a tighter space, okay? So a novella has to have its own rhythm and its own breathing space. There are plenty of websites out there that can guide you through what is a novella and what does it mean to write in novella form. Okay, so I trust you can find your way through the internet in the same way that you found your way to us here on YouTube. Now, what kind of novellas do we take? Obviously, this is where publishers generally say, before submitting, become acquainted with the kind of work we publish. Now, when I first started as an author, I thought that that was a bit cheeky, that maybe it was a way of getting people to buy their books. But actually, working from the other side, I can tell you that knowing the style we publish, the kind of story we publish, it actually does help to understand what kind of stories we're after. Now, it doesn't mean you have to buy every single novella, but if you have a chance, and maybe even one product, even on digital, which costs as little as $3.99, you can perhaps choose maybe from the latest batch of novellas, just so that you've got, you know, what is the most recent form, the most recent style, okay? It is worth exploring, because it really gives you a feeling. For example, it would tell you that we don't really go for huge cast, epic stories. A novella is a cozy affair, especially the way we like them. It's a cozy affair, generally revolving around a character, maximum a few, maybe as a sort of support cast. But what you generally get a real good sense of development and feeling for that one character. So you get a chance to be close to them and to really journey with them. This also means that we prefer stories which are not action-packed, okay? We don't really go for massive fighting or anything like that. You know, we really want something contained, self-contained. We want personal journeys. This is really where we are at with the Luna Novella series. So, so far, the submission number has obviously increased in terms of how many submissions we receive, and sometimes we oscillate between 200-300, and you know, it's a big number. So what you want is something that really stands out. Get that opening right, polish it as much as you can, and make sure that your ideas, it doesn't mean they have to be brand new, but the way you deal with them is fresh and original as much as you can, okay? Clear, make sure your draft is your final draft. That doesn't mean that your manuscript is not gonna go through editing, but it means that when I look at it, you have given everything you can to the story, and in your mind, that is the best book that you can deliver. The editors will do their job, but you do yours in terms of delivery, okay? No first draft. no, I personally have never accepted first draft, and I keep telling you we don't want any first draft. So if you have a good idea but it's not finished, please do not submit because it will not be read. I need something that feels like this is it, this is the best product. Of course, if you know, even Word come with a spell checker, that would be something that, you know, it's appreciated. But like I said, our editors will then do the rest. Okay, we go for character-centered stories. Character first, plot to follow. So the character is the main thing for a novella. Okay, in terms of how to submit, please submit emails only. Okay, do not send anything in physical copy. We only accept emails, which I would argue should be a good thing for you, because I come from the times when you had to submit the whole manuscript to a publisher, and that was not cheap. So please take your blessings, you know, count your blessings and submit via email only. Now, in terms of the submission guidelines, we have dates of openings. Generally, they go from midnight all the way through the day and until midnight of the closing date. Okay, so no matter where you are in the world, if you can please find out what does that mean in your time zone in terms of British time. Okay, because obviously I'm in Scotland, so I will be working through the midnight to midnight based on Scottish time. British time, there we go. In terms of the guidelines, okay, so let me tell you what are some of the things that you really need to keep in mind. First of all, the word count. The word count, it's up to 39.999, so 40,000 words. Now, why is that? There are a lot of reasons, but those are conventions, really. They are accepted worldwide. A novella wouldn't go over the 40,000 words. There are also a reason why you want to stick to the top limit, and that is because, for me, in order to submit your novella for awards in the novella categories, that is the limit that the majority of prizes recognizes as novellas. So if you give me a piece that is over 40,000, I won't be able to submit it for a novella. So please stick to that. In terms of the lower end of the word count, generally speaking, novellas start from 17,500 words. However, a Luna novella, we start from 20,000. And this is because the format of the Luna novella is actually smaller than a regular paperback. And that means that if you give me something too thin, even below 20,000, the spine is going to be so small that to squeeze in the title is going to be not really pleasant. And this is a series that has a standard cover as well, and they all look really pretty when they're all next to each other. So we want to continue to have a little bit of spine. So within 20,000 and 40,000 is the kind of criteria that we would be looking for. And I'm sorry if I'm displeasing you, but 20,000 is what we like to have, okay? So that is for the word count. Now, in terms of the genre, I've already said anything in the speculative world, anything SFF and all their subgenre is allowed, and please stick to it. You'll be surprised, but sometimes I still receive submission for gardening books, and I'm not entirely sure wherever did we give that impression. Also, we do receive a lot of crime books. Now, I appreciate the crime sales, it's true, but you know, we are kind of like a genre press. So for fantasy and science fiction, it's clearly stated on the website. So please do not submit the crime books. I would love to publish crime, but it's not really what we do, at least now, for now. So there we go. In terms of audience, our novellas are for general trade, which means that you shouldn't submit novellas for children or teenagers, okay? So no young adult, only adult. So what it's in publishing called the general trade, okay? In terms of language, it has to be in the English language, and it has to be original, as in not published before, not even self-published in the English language. If, however, you are, say, a German author who has published a novella in German, even as self-published, you are welcome to submit it in English to us. Okay, so when I'm looking for the original not published, I mean in the English language, because that is what we're going to be publishing in. Okay, so translations are absolutely welcome. I always welcome translation, no problem at all. Okay, what kind of details I ask of you? So please remember to state the title of the novella, the word count, and the genre. I would like a very brief, relevant bio for you, as an author. You can mention if you've published other things before, even self-published, not a problem at all. Okay, that it's a very brief thing. So I'm not looking for any kind of embellished or flourish. It's just really to say, I don't know, perhaps how long have you been writing? It's just really to get, a feel for you as a growing or developing or even starting out brand new author. Because you might have, this might be your first thing. So please don't be shy and don't worry and just say, this is my first novella, and here I am. That is perfectly acceptable. If you have social media, you're welcome to share them. You don't have to. If you do, why not? And in terms of the story itself, we would then ask you, again, in the body of the email, for a synopsis. Okay, so go through the novella. Let me know what's happening. So a good synopsis. But please don't leave it on a cliffhanger, because I'm not asking for the back blurb of a book, okay? I need to know how it ends. I need to see the full things. We generally don't read the synopsis right away, so please keep the synopsis as the last thing, as the bottom part, so that we don't actually see it unless we need to, okay? Now, we ask for a synopsis, but we don't necessarily need to look at it until later on. In fact, and that is why I'm asking you to leave it at the bottom, when we open the attachment, which is the only attachment you're required to send in the email with the novella, we start straight onto the novella, okay? And we want to go there fresh. We want to go there without knowing what to expect. We want the story to speak for you. So the synopsis is only something that we access afterwards, okay? For whatever reason. So please do add one, but leave it as the last thing in your email. After you have submitted, you will receive an email to acknowledge the submission. And that can happen like literally a few minutes after you've emailed us, but it will happen in any case on the same day, okay? So if you don't hear from us after 24 hours, please email back, okay? Because we are very thorough with the first reply. Then we would normally specify how long before you hear from us again. And I can tell you for a fact that up until now, you always hear back within a month, okay? Within a month from the closing of the submission, we get back to you with either a yay or an A, but you always hear from us, and we always tell you exactly when that is by. Now, in terms of the kind of reply that you get, although we cannot do a personalized feedback for each of the novellas that are submitted to us, we can guarantee you, I can personally guarantee you that we read all the submissions, okay? So we would never put something aside that, without thinking about it. We would never do that. It's completely against the purpose of being a publisher, even a small press. So believe me when I say that we have considered your story. We have considered the story with, in itself. So say, for example, from the point of view of writing, for the point of view of the plot, of all of the things that go with the story, but we are also considering everything else that goes around the story. Yeah. For example, the publishing schedule. Are there any works already in the making that would be sort of overlapping with that novella. Do you know what I mean? So there are a lot of things that you may not be aware of, but that we know and we have to think about. So of course, when we fall in love with a novella, we fall in love, of course, and that's the main thing. And this leads me to the last point, which is that although rejections are never pleasant, and sometimes they come in a string of rejections, just don't take it personally, in the sense that, you know, I know it's hard to say and it's hard to explain, but it is really part of the process, okay? Think about the rejections for a specific work. For example, if you continuously receive rejection for a very specific type of book, or for a specific book, maybe it's trying to tell you something. Maybe it's telling you that either there's something wrong with the book, with the story itself, with the style itself, or maybe is that particular genre that you didn't quite get as it should have been. Try to look, keep track of who you submit to, for what, and the rejection, and anything you can garner from that rejection, because you should start to see a trend if there is a repeat pattern of rejection for that specific manuscript, okay? And that might help you then overcome the next hurdle. Believe me, there is nothing personal about rejecting a story. Sometimes it's just not right for us. Maybe the circumstances aren't right. And yes, of course, there is also the case that we might not like the story, but we are not the only small press in the world, or in Scotland either, or indeed in the UK. So do not let this, put you down, just put you down, keep you down, or make you sad. Just carry on and, and keep submitting, because that's what happens, So once your book is finished and is ready for submission, get your list ready and keep submitting it out. And in the meantime, refresh yourself and start with the next project, okay? Don't just, don't wait too long. We like stories and we like to see more coming through. So I hope all of these will have given you a little bit more of an idea about how to submit. And of course, this was specifically talking about the Luna Novella submissions. So there you go. I hope you find it useful, okay? So thank you very much, and I hope to see work from you very soon. Take care. Ciao.